we started sort of coincidentally. I was completely fed up with the work that I did, which was actually product design for a playground supplier. And I thought, this is not what I want to do. This is also not what I got involved through skateboarding, because they thought they once asked me, can you do some skate parks? And then they thought, oh, the guy has some potential. Let's see if he can do more. One of my skate friends actually worked for the municipality. He had a complete different experience. He said, I'm falling asleep here. Nothing is really happening. And he asked me, do you want to set up a studio with me? And I said, okay, well, yeah, okay, let's do that and see what happens. So we did. Then after a few years we were sort of picked up by others. Hey, this is interesting what they are doing. And very, very slowly we grew into what we are, and this was never intended and it was never meant, but it's of course also very nice, yeah. We are coming from object-based design, but for me an architect is object-based as well, because in the end it's the volume. But there's much more behind it. And what has happened, I have to say, before the crisis, is that people started that we were being asked, can you do a playground? And then we started re-questioning, what is your purpose of doing the playground? Why? Very often the end part was the obstacle. For instance, Mere Park, we rearranged the complete park because we wanted people to go to the playground, and we didn't want to just implement a playground somewhere where nobody was going. And we also wanted to address that it's important to keep large green areas within the city's periphery, instead of selling them out to developers to build new houses, so you have to go outside. There's so much more behind it. But then in the image that is being shown, it's always the playground. That is our end thing. Bringing together all different perspectives and all different, an architect solves in buildings, a landscape architect in landscape, we with play, the storyteller with the narrative. But if you bring it together, we can all work for a better, more interesting city. And that is actually what is driving me. I very often use the example of the Van Beuningenplein. It is about, I used the word before, perceived affordances, which is something from Donald Norman. But if we tend to design programmatically. That means we've got this court for this, we've got this court for that, then we've got the playground divided up in separate spaces, where I think you need to actually design an environment, and depending on who is occupying it during what time, but during a certain time of the day, it can become another physical world for them as it would be for the other user group. So from Beuningenplein, there's sports, some skate elements around the basketball court, but the basketball court is also a water playground, and skateboard park is also seating, and etc., etc. So there can be many things. And here comes the most important thing for me. If it looks like it's being designed for something specific, you are not allowed to do anything else on it. If it looks like it's being made for children, you cannot sit on top of it when you're older, or when it looks like a bench, you cannot use it for skating. But if it's not really clear what it is for, but you see that you can use it like sitting on stairs, there's so much more opportunities. And especially in densifying cities, this is very important, because we've got one space and we can make it a void space and everything can happen, but nothing happens. But then if you design it in a way that people think, hey, I can use this, or hey, nobody bothers if I go with my BMX bicycle over this bench, then you open it up and you only have this 1,000 square meters square. And if it's a soccer court with astroturf or artificial turf, you cannot do anything else. So that is our thought. And with that actually, and it's not even related to children, it's related to all ages. But it's always seen from a playful perspective. The Violet project, which is very difficult to find on the internet because we call it Purple Pleasure, and then you end up to all strange websites, but not that. That was more about that is in a new built area where everything looks the same. There's an expression for it. It's a Phoenix, which is the affordable house from a certain middle-aged group, and it's all the same. And there it is more about authenticity also. So who wants to make a purple sports court? Only because then you know, hey, we meet there. Let's see each other at the purple court. And the idea behind it is that everything is also brought together because there's only one area, and that's it. We are overfed with images. Where the image actually dissolved itself from the meaning. So you see many of these things. I'll give you an example that is not ours. You also know the basketball court with this inner court that every time they paint with a new graphic, and you will see it in every, with squares and colors and fading colors. I think it's in France, but I don't know. But anyway, if you see the image, you know, you see the same image appear in every proposal from every landscape architect, but they never ask, why have they done this? What is the reason for doing this? It's only a nice image. So the purple, maybe that's good because I have forgotten about that project, but that is a project where we try to actually also bring together from that perspective many things and what I sometimes call catering for the unexpected. I don't know what's going to happen there, but you're invited. And it would work as well if it would have been black, but that's not the meaning. But all these things have become images, and everybody using these images without knowing what it is. Grown-ups always think that playgrounds need to be brightly colored. Nobody knows why, but that's what they think. And then the landscape architect wants everything to be charcoal dark, and then said, let's do one line of extreme color in rainbow colors, and there's hardly any color there, and everybody thinks it's really, really colorful, but it's not. All these kind of things we try to bring in, keeping actually sand there as a material for safety attenuation, which is that's actually why the apparatus is shaped like that, because there's tree roots and there's much more into it. But then I'll give you another example of a tree walk in the Vondelpark. That is made out of reused material and old wood, because, you know, from an ecological point of view, they always say you need to use FSC certified, or you need to use this and that. We said, any hardwood that is being reused is also good, and it looks like being built. Yeah, it looks like being built from scrap material. And people look at it, and it's all between the trees. Actually, you go up in between the canopies, but that is not the story. The story is that they wanted us to build a playground in the Vondelpark, but the Vondelpark has come to its full capacity. And if we would take from that capacity, we had to take from the meadow. So why not use existing areas that are not being used, like all these bushes and trees, and we bring that back, or we bring in another element that is hoovering over that. So it's just all, it depends on the questions, it depends on what I want to, or I should say we want to express with it. So in this case, we did that. And it also depends on the client, because if you cannot beat your client. If they're not open for it, I can propose whatever I want, but they just don't buy it.